Welcome back to another episode of Creature Madness with your host, me, Gus from Askewed Reviews. Now, just in case you don't know what Creature Madness is, this was a creation by my friend Matthew over at Horror Madness. He decided to create a movie club and invited a few of his friends. Now, what we do is each time around, we all watch the same creature feature film, and then each of us does our own review on the movie for all of you to view. And aside from myself and Matthew, the other members of this club are Ashley, Bambi, Amariah, Jen, Karen, and Ryan. And speaking of Ryan, it was his turn to choose the movie this time around. And he chose the 2000 film Ginger Snaps, directed and co written by John Fawcett. Now, if by some chance you happen to be a fan of my videos, you're probably going, wait a minute, Gus, you've already done Ginger Snaps as a review before. But let me tell you this, when it comes to my channel, for any horror movie, there's a potential of me reviewing it at least 3 times. The reason for this is at least one time for Cinema Society Saturday, once potentially for Creature Madness, and if I ever do a trivia review video for it, which at some point I absolutely will do a trivia review for all of the Ginger Snaps movies. So let me try to make this one a little bit different, but still, let me go over what the premise is for this movie. We have a pair of sisters, Ginger and Bridget. Now, the two of them are pretty much best friends and are completely obsessed with death. In fact, they love to take pictures of each other in poses that make it look like they are, in fact, deceased. So at school, these two are generally considered pariahs. Not a lot of people hang out with them, and they definitely are considered weird. Now, one night, while the two of them are working on their macabre hobby, Ginger ends up getting attacked by some massive beast. Now, Bridget does manage to save her and get her home, but Ginger is horribly wounded. However, though, the wounds begin to heal pretty quickly. Over the next few weeks, Ginger starts to make some interesting and odd changes, which, as a teenage girl, would probably be normal. However, though, growing hair in everywhere, getting sharper teeth, and of course becoming very bloodthirsty, even though that's probably a description of some teenage girls, is not usually regular. Through these changes, though, Ginger starts to become a new person and even starts hanging out with the cool kids. So, can Bridget end up helping her not only rediscover who she is, but help her stop from becoming a full on werewolf? My favorite part of this movie, though, is the way that they have interwoven lycanthropy with puberty and how it's handled. It's a very interesting way to go about this. Now, I will say, though, I'm not a huge fan of the entire story. It's fun, and it's honestly probably one of my more favorite werewolf movies, but I am going to still agree with my earlier assessment of giving this film a 3 out of 5. If you'd like to watch this one yourself, it's currently streaming for free on Fubo and AMC Plus. Now, as a spoiler warning, this is the part of Creature Madness where I go a little bit more in depth on the creature itself. Now, mind you, Ginger is a werewolf, so that's pretty self evident from the beginning, but if you don't want anything ruined for you before you see this film, go watch the movie and then come back to this section. So, Ginger's version of lycanthropy is interesting, as it makes small changes. I wouldn't say minute, because some of these are pretty glaring, and I don't know how anyone else in the movie isn't noticing, wow, there's something really wrong with Ginger. But I do still like what they did in the film itself. The gradual changes, the little additions to the hair, to the makeup, to the facial structure, eventually getting multiple nipples. It gets real weird in this movie. But all culminating until she becomes a full on werewolf, like this right here. Now, mind you, I wouldn't say this is one of the prettier werewolves that I've seen when it comes to cinema, but I do still like their take on it. I find it very interesting that it's kind of bald instead of hair everywhere, and it's got this almost albino look to it. It's very different, and I think it really sets itself apart because of that. So I hope you enjoyed my version of Creature Madness. If you'd like to see what everyone else in the group did for their review on this film, all you have to do is look up the hashtag Creature Madness.